you clearly kind of went down this rabbit hole and fell in love with this technology. I know you fell in love with computers when you were back in Pakistan, and that also kept you away from that state-controlled media, which was, again, kind of this monopoly. Where do you want to start? Back then or back in 2013?
Yeah, I think maybe we can mix it a little bit. So I feel like I have a tendency to get attracted to cutting edge technology. Really, if I look back at my life, like when I got a computer, it was literally like, someone has just cast a spell on me. Like I would literally be up every single night, all night, because I just couldn't go to sleep because it was such a fascinating thing. And this is a computer that was not even connected to the internet, right? It was just a box, right? And I'm like messing around with it. And my parents, they actually were really worried about me. They thought that I started taking drugs or something because my eyes would be red every morning because I'm not sleeping. And then imagine if I when I got connected to the internet, that's like almost like plugging a fire hose of information into somebody who's just like fascinated with that world and gets attracted towards like new type of technologies. And I've noticed that trend even recently in my personality. Like before crypto, like I was in computer science, I was pretty plugged into Silicon Valley, and Silicon Valley felt like a place where the free spirits and the entrepreneurs are kind of like flocking to, right? And a lot of innovation is happening there. But interestingly, when I discovered crypto, it just felt like this is the future, and Silicon Valley started feeling like the past. And I think I was pretty early in jumping into the crypto technology, like 2013 or so, right? And at that time, and I think we are seeing that friction even today, where Silicon Valley, I don't think they were able to adapt to crypto. Like most of the investments that have happened, they've happened from new funds. Like there are some exceptions, like Union Square Ventures or Andreessen Horowitz,
Yeah.
who have been able to kind of like capture this new world of crypto. But most of the funds are actually new. Like the old funds were not able to adapt to the crypto world. Even Silicon Valley did not emerge as a hub for crypto. There is no single big hub, right? Like, but Silicon Valley is definitely not one of them. And people are actually leaving the valley because they know that they can work from anywhere. Capital flow is much more fluid. So it's a little bit like, imagine this thing is so new that even Silicon Valley can't keep up with it. And even recently, a lot of Web2 founders are actually having a hard time understanding crypto. Like they're having a little bit of a uh, uh, basically they're going through this process of this thing is could potentially disrupt everything that we have done over the last 10 years, right? And there's a natural kind of like resistance to that feeling. Whereas I think there's a very famous Naval Ravikant quote that he says that imagine that you're climbing up a hill and you're more than halfway through, and then you realize that the only way to go any further is to first come down, right? And that's very hard to do. Like you can't, it's very hard for people to give up on everything that they've done in life and basically start over. And I think you almost like need to have that ability to be able to do that over and over and over again. Like I feel like I've definitely gone through those moments in my life where at one point I was completely surrounded in academia and wanted to kind of like climb those ladders and publish at the best conferences and thought that this is the cutting edge of kind of like research and technology, and then realized that no, that there's a better path, right? And there's a faster, bigger economy, and you can actually make a bigger impact if you join that community instead. But you actually have to unlearn everything you've learned over the past 5 6 years, being a grad student and being in academia and kind of like trying to be really good at something that is completely different, and convincing yourself out of like, hey, this was actually a suboptimal system, and now I'm running towards something that is actually much better. And I think Silicon Valley is kind of like there, that they need to realize that their way of operating, investing in companies and building these centralized services is actually suboptimal. And they need to like wake themselves out of that way of thinking and go learn like what's happening in the new world to stay competitive. Otherwise, it's just like slowly you are going to become irrelevant.